April 19th, 1993, 20 years ago on Friday, was a very dark day in Texas history. The end of a 51-day siege at the Branch Davidian compound outside Waco. Tonight we look back with people who were there at the terrible fiery end, including this reporter and a man inside the compound who escaped but lost his 18-year-old daughter. The final assault began before dawn. Clive Doyle remembers hearing the FBI on loudspeakers.
Coming on saying basically that this standoff or this siege is over, that they were going to start injecting gas into the building.
Attorney General Janet Reno had approved a graduated assault, one stretching over 48 hours. Instead, within minutes, it escalated. Tanks and Bradley armored vehicles were knocking bigger and bigger holes as the morning went on. But they are inserting some kind of a tear gas. They say it's a non-lethal and non-pyrotechnic gas. That means they don't want to start a fire when they send it in there. Bob Ricks was the lead FBI spokesman, convinced that they had to force the hand of an increasingly unstable sect leader, David Koresh, who had told his people the end of the world was at hand.
His rhetoric was getting more and more violent. He was getting more and more threatening. And the concern was that he was going to cause this thing to be burned down. And unless the government did something to intervene, that this was going to be on his terms rather than on our terms.
I did put a gas mask on to begin with. I didn't read the instructions, so within less than 30 minutes probably it was blocked up. Couldn't hardly breathe air through it. And so I took it off, but of course there was no gas mask for the kids and that, and I heard later on that some of the mothers were wetting towels and blankets and stuff and trying to wrap them around the babies to protect them from the gas. Around about noon, sometime around noon, I guess, somebody from upstairs yelled that the building was on fire.
It was 6 hours into the assault, 8 minutes after noon. Walter Evans was on the anchor desk in Dallas. I was reporting live from the scene when the unthinkable happened. This is the first time that we have seen this, Walter, and it looks to us like fire. We have not seen smoke of this kind at all, but we have what appears to be a fire going on right now, raging at the Branch Davidian compound. We can only assume that everybody inside there is in imminent danger. And again, we have 17 children inside, at least 95 people all told. Even from 2 miles away, you can see that the flames are just leaping into the air and the smoke is covering it. We have still not heard a siren. We've still not seen a fire engine, but again...
Turned black in there. Overhead was this tremendous heat that literally just pushed you down on the ground. I began to hear the guys further in behind me starting to scream. And I recognized one or two of the voices, and it kind of galvanized me into jumping up and trying to make my way to the hole. I remember looking back over my shoulder, and the hole I'd just come out of was just a mass of flames.
Clive Doyle would learn later that David Koresh had told the mothers to take all the children to a vault underneath the central tower.
Apparently that's where they found most of them after the fire.
Back in Waco, Bob Ricks was surrounded by weeping people.
We had pictures of all the children. We knew their names. We knew what they looked like. The adults, in some ways, you say, well, this is their choice, this is what they've decided, but those kids made no such decision.
Ricks was ordered to do one final news conference.
Told to go back, trying to keep my composure, trying not to break down.
We did not introduce fire to this compound. It was not our intention that this compound be burned down. I can't tell you the shock and the horror that all of us felt when we saw those flames coming out there. It was, oh my God, they're killing themselves. We did not want that to occur.
The government says that somebody inside started the fire.
Yeah, they continue to say that, and like I said, I didn't see where it started. Got the impression it was somewhere upstairs.
Clive Doyle was one of only 9 people who got out alive. At least 76 souls were lost.
What I question about that in my mind, rehashing it over and over for the last 20 years, I'm not saying they deliberately did it, whether it was accidental or whether it You know, they claim that they've got tapes that where David's given orders to pour the gas and put some over here and all this sort of stuff.
So after 20 years, you're really not sure how that fire started. You really don't know.
Nope.
I think it will always be there. I mean, how do you not have this affect your life one way or the other? That last day is something that that you look back and you wish you could have done something differently that would have caused the end to end differently.
Independent investigations concluded the fire started on the inside in 3 places almost simultaneously. Other survivors said it was accidental, started by tanks knocking over lanterns. Later autopsies would reveal at least a dozen Branch Davidians died from gunshot wounds, a medical examiner sure that some were self-inflicted.